Hi, this is Nermeen, food writer and content creator. My guest today is Despina Yergin. Born in Greece, raised in Australia, and now living in the US, Despina has the most interesting stories to share about her passion for her Greek food heritage. Hi, Despina. Thank you for being my guest.
Hello, I'm excited. I'm excited. Thanks for the invitation.
It's my pleasure. So Despina and I, we got to know one another through the Mediterranean Lifestyle online magazine. I was hooked by her very nostalgic and beautiful food writing, and I wanted to know her better in person. So we kept in touch. And when I offered her to be my guest, she wrote back right away. And again, thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's
Thank you.
amazing what social media can do for us today.
Exactly.
Connect us to people around the world.
And with wonderful people like your lovely self.
Thank
So, my first question, Despina, how did your story with food all start?
Well, I guess you can say I've always been a foodie. I've always been attracted to food. It's been a pleasure all my life. I know growing up in Greece, which is where I was born, I still have beautiful, vivid memories of my grandmother's house outside of Sparta, and being there with my sister, and the grapes on the arbor, the hot goat milk with bread that my grandmother would give us for breakfast, the beautiful, juicy tomato salad that we might have for lunch. I've always been that person. I've always had an eye for something beautiful, and the tiny things always impressed me. So fast forward, we migrated from Greece to Australia, where we had relatives, which is how you usually migrate. You go for a little bit better life. And many years later, when I was I was about 19 and my sister a year younger, unfortunately, sadly, our mother passed away. And so we were left with our father, and each one of us, my sister Antonia and I, would take on responsibilities for managing the house, the home. And I chose to do the grocery shopping and the cooking. Now, the cooking was interesting in the beginning because we fed my father some very interesting things. I was quite creative in my endeavors. They didn't always succeed, but there were certain things I could always count on, and those were the recipes that my mother had shared with us. And you probably grew up in this way too,
Exactly.
where there was no written recipe, or there might be a written recipe, but you would always just sort of review it before you started, and then you'd get in the kitchen and you knew it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, So that's how I learned. And it was during that time that I realized that this was my passion. This was going to be the way that I could express myself creatively.
Wonderful.
To prepare food. And of course, throughout the years, I've also realized that food can help us make wonderful connections, and it shows people we love them, we care about them.
Wonderful. So the transformation happened when you figured that the food is a way to express your love to your father or to your family, also provide a sense of reassurance, I assume.
Yes, and it was a creative outlet. It was my way of, it was my art.
Wonderful. And how did you how did you grow this passion? How did you water it? How did you develop it more?
It happened slowly.
Slowly.
It happened slowly. over many years. So I would say it took another 10, 15 years before it became um, something that's closer to what it is now, which is what I do. It's my focus. Um, I went the course or the path of least resistance because we all have to have a job, and we all have to take care of ourselves and our loved ones. So my career path went in other directions. And eventually, though, I would always come back to this. When I wanted to express myself creatively, I would cook for people. So that kept it going, kept the fire going. Writing came in as a more important outlet for creativity for a long time. So I moved in that direction, and then eventually they just sort of came together. In my first year of marriage, my husband and I discussed this as an opportunity, and so I opened a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah. It was called Despina's International Cafe and Salon Gallery.
Wow.
Yes, quite a mouthful, and quite a mouthful of responsibility. And anyone who's ever worked in a restaurant or owned a restaurant and tried to manage it knows how difficult of a profession this is, or how difficult of a business. So, and I wasn't just cooking meals for people. I also had a small gallery, a salon style gallery, and we also had music once a week. It was too much, too big of an endeavor. So I learned lots of lessons. I say to people that we had failures and we had successes. And both of those, the successes and failures, always give us good lessons if we pay attention, to help propel us forward so that we do better in the future. So we closed the restaurant after a year.
Yes.
And beyond that, little bits and pieces. I did other work, of course, but eventually I came back to the food passion, and I decided that I would make a go of it. Doing the food blogging, that was a big commitment. Doing a little bit of food writing for magazines and so on. And eventually I came to what I call my passion project, which you and I have talked about, which is the book.
So your life started in Greece, you moved to Australia, and then from Australia to the United States of America.
Yes.
Did you always write about your Greek heritage, or your recipes have evolved and picked things from here and there?
The food blogging work and the writing has not been focused on the Greek heritage. I've always cooked that way, predominantly. But the food blogging was recipes that I would develop and I wanted to share with others. And that was the piece of the restaurant work that I didn't like, where the recipes were your own and you didn't share them. I prefer to share. So the blogging became a way to do that. But eventually, once I realized that this project would not happen unless I took it on, then my focus went back towards the Greek culture.
But you were serving international or cross-cultural recipe at your restaurant.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Yes, absolutely, we were. Our house soup was African groundnut soup, and the groundnut is a peanut, of course, as you probably know already. And it was a big hit. It's such a simple soup. We had all sorts of things, and of course we included Greek food.
Interesting. So let's talk about your project now. I know you have a very ambitious and promising project that you're working on. So please tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, it's called Greek Heritage Cooking Simplified. So this project came about. My father passed away about 12 years ago. His sister, my Aunt Polly, who became a second mother to me and to my sister, and who has lived near me for many years, would tell me certain stories. I would ask her about our family, about relatives, and I would ask her about the things that they ate back when she was growing up. Yes. In the little village in Greece. And because these things get lost, and I would have no one of her generation after her to fill the gaps, to tell me the stories about people, all the funny things, the sad things, or to give me the food memories and give me the recipes for what she was making, for what my mother used to make, and so on. And my aunts and my grandmother. And it occurred to me that while I have no children of my own, I have wonderful stepchildren, and they've grown up eating a lot of these traditional Greek recipes that I prepared. But my sister has 4 girls. And for whatever reason, life and more exciting things, as you know, with your own children, the connection to the food of our country of origin, of our heritage, was going to be lost if I didn't pull something together.
Yes.
So I pulled this together, and it happened over many years because it was an idea. It was a way to bring things together. I wasn't sure how I could focus and do something for my nieces. And then, of course, it grew after I attended a book writing workshop, cookbook writing workshop. It grew and became a more focused project. So anyway, my nieces didn't know how to cook the food that they loved. Their mother and myself would not be there always to cook it for them. And then when we're gone, it's gone. And all they have is memories of this food. They've been to Greece, they know the country well, they love it, but the food part, which I feel connects us, it's a strong connection to our heritage, would be lost. So I also realized that they're very, very busy, and they're never going to take the time to sit down and prepare a complicated recipe or an easy recipe that takes a long time. So I devised this idea, and with the help of the cookbook writing workshop that I attended with 2 wonderful brothers, they're quite famous all over the United States, called Matt and Ted Lee.
Yes.
Very, very well-known travel writers, food and culture writers, and they have a great story of their own. So they helped me to come up with a new title and to focus on the simplified recipes. They sort of drew it out of me within a 2-day focused writing workshop. So that's how Greek Heritage Cooking Simplified was born. So the original recipes of my family will be there, the traditional recipes. And now I have developed, and I'm continuing to develop, simplified methods for preparing the same dish. It may not look the same, but it will taste the same, and it will be much easier to prepare, and it won't take as long. That was the important piece. For example, the stuffed cabbage leaves.
Yes.
That we love to eat. And every country in the world, I think, has their own recipe. So my aunt would make it with avrolemono sauce. This is the egg lemon sauce that many people have tasted in a Greek restaurant. The shortcut method, because the hardest part of preparing that dish is not rolling the cabbage leaves, It's removing the leaves from the cabbage. You have
Yes.
to put it in a hot pot of water. You have to core the cabbage. You remove it after a while. You remove some of the leaves. You put the cabbage back. You wait some more. It takes forever. And even I have been too busy to do it that way. So I've devised two simplified methods. One is lasagna style in the oven. And the other one is on top of the stove, which is more like a stir fry. Tastes exactly the same. It has the same ingredients. It's a different method. So that's how I am now working to preserve my family's heritage through food for my nieces. And as soon as I finish the outline for the book, hopefully to find a publisher, an agent and a publisher, and get the book published to share it with other people.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is very smart, because your flexibility has served well your purpose. While you want to while you want to preserve this amazing food heritage, you're also considerate of the time and energy limitations of the younger generations, and you try to look at your past or at your heritage, not in a nostalgic way, but rather in a revolutionary way, right?
I guess that's true. You could say that.
So what you're doing, you're prolonging the life of your heritage by offering a simplified version.
Thank you. It won't work unless we have a simplified method for these recipes. And of course, as you and I have already discussed, lots of good stories about my family and growing up in Greece.
So it's a more of a food memoir and practical recipes at the same time, like a combination.
Yes, it is all of that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. So, writing a book is a journey. So tell me about your own experience with writing a book.
Right. This should have happened already. My outline. Well, my outline is done. It just should be ready. It needs to be fine-tuned, and a few other things need to happen. The things that have gotten in my way, my aunt's health declining in her late 90s or early mid 90s, and there's been no one else really. A couple of other family members are in Greenville, but it fell to me to be there to help her with that. And that's happened since I began or embarked on this journey for writing the book. It's happened a couple of times, and most recently as the end of last year, November of last year, where she passed away.
I'm sorry
It was, thank you. And that distracts you from your focus. Additionally, all of last year, my husband had some serious health issues, and we were in the hospital, out of the hospital, in the hospital, out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, he's very healthy right now, and we were able to travel a couple of times last year. But as you know, after that, we come to COVID-19. And that doesn't mean that I can't sit down and write, but we have responsibilities day to day. The point I'm trying to make is what I took away from this was that we can be in very difficult times, very trying times. And I want to share this with others as well. If you have a dream, as I have, if it's important to you and it's meant to be, you will find a way to stay connected to it. My way has been, if a story came to me, as things do when you're writing, I would jot it down, or I would go to my computer and type it down. No editing, just record it and make sure it was there. If I had time to test one of those family recipes and find a way for a simplified method that would go into the book, I did that. when we now are at the point where we will invite a couple of friends at a time to dinner. I will feed them something that I'm testing for the book. It's
Smart.
part of my life.
Yes.
So I'm staying connected. I haven't lost the dream. It's delayed. It's been delayed many times, but it's not over. It's not over until I say it's over. Does that make
So
sense?
it makes a lot of sense. And tell me, how did you handle COVID-19 as a, you are doing something very inspirational. You're a writer and food blogger. How did you handle the pandemic?
Well, of course, we're all still handling it. We're just a little more used to it now. We're more familiar with it. But in the beginning, it was an odd time. And I had quite an unlikely reaction. For me, because I wasn't going anywhere. I was here with my tools. This is a tool. Being able to look outside and hear birds, that's part of my tool, my environment. I have a very supportive husband, so that's part of it as well, of the supportive environment. I had my computer. I didn't have to do anything else except focus on that, and all of a sudden I had this burst of creative energy. And oh my goodness, if I had been free and had no other responsibilities, I don't know, I maybe would have solved COVID-19 situation. It was that exciting. So I was full of creative energy. It was a wonderful feeling. And I want to get back there. I'm not all the way back. But then what happened is what's happened to everybody. You go into a dark place. You go into a black hole. You go into a sighing, woe is me situation. That's not a good place, but it's a normal reaction, I think. And I had to dig my way back out. So, of course, the food blog has been wonderful. My way in life is full of something that brings me great satisfaction, helping others. When I can help others, and I sometimes say this is a very selfish thing because it feels so good to me. So I focused on my blogging and helping others who perhaps are used to eating out most of the time and don't know what to do now that they're in their own home kitchen. And what if you can't find available produce? So I went into that mode. COVID-19 is here. What do we need to do? How do we cook simple, nutritious meals with perhaps a shortage of this or a shortage of that? So I went into that mode, and that has been extremely satisfying and helpful, I hope, to lots of people. And the other thing is that has helped me is this silly little thing that I started on Instagram. I didn't invent the tomato toast or tomato toast, depending on which part of the world you live in, hashtag. But this tomato toast hashtag was brought to my attention one day by someone else who is a wonderful food writer. And she posted the photo of her toast, and this is what she was having for her lunch. And I thought, well, this is fun. I can do this for myself. And if I start a little campaign, just an encouraging opportunity for others to join in and share their tomato toast experience, and we can put them all in one place, it might just get other people moving forward with their creativity. It's a simple thing. Slice a tomato, toast some bread, whatever type of bread you have, and then add to it whatever your creativity and your hunger desires. And then you share it with us.
So it's a wonderful initiative, and probably whomever is watching or listening to us right now can find the hashtag tomato toast on Instagram. Post your tomato toast. It's a simple thing that connects all of us in the middle of this ongoing pandemic.
Absolutely. And you'll do yours, right?
I'll do mine. Take my word for it.
Good. So on Instagram, my name is @DespyDoodle. And if they will tag me when they post it, I will share their post on my stories and then save that to my highlights. It's just interesting to see the creativity. You know, music and food, I think, connect everybody around the world. Your music is different from mine. My music is different from what my husband grew up with, but we all love music.
That's very
I
true.
like music of cultures from all over the world, and the same with food.
That's very true.
Mhm.
You know, that leads me to another question. How did your journey with food change you as a person?
Well, I've always had a need to express myself creatively, even as a child. So I also realized that food is a way to share your love for someone or to show them that you care. So I'd say it definitely made me a more caring, observant, and kinder person. Plus, it just connects me to people instantly.
Very
I feed
true.
them
I
the food of my heritage from Greece, and they want to know, where was I born? Who were my people? How was life there? When did you eat this? And I want to know the same things when I meet someone from Korea or from China. We have friends in Atlanta, a younger couple. She is from China and he is from Norway. And I want to know about the food. She has shown me so much about the food. And through that, connecting through the food, we learn about each other's culture. So food has helped me to connect to other people. It's been wonderful.
That's wonderful. So, how can people find you online? You mentioned your Instagram account, but what's the name of your blog?
The blog is a little long. It's called Alpha Good Cook Cooking
Yes.
.blogspot.com.
Okay. We'll write it
And
on the screen. And so this is your blog, and then you have an Instagram account at Despina
at
um,
DespyDoodle.
as Despidoodle. And
I'm on Twitter at DespyDoodle. My main website, which probably will undergo a change in the next few months, is called despydoodle.com.
perfect.
A Facebook page for my cookbook. Maybe you can share that. It's just a little too long. It's the title of the cookbook, but I'll share that with you, and I'm sure you can put it up on the screen too.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your digital presence with us. I'm sure many people will be interested to go and check and, you know, just get nurtured by your food heritage. And
Thank you.
on that note, I would like to thank you very much for your time today. I know you have a very busy schedule between your, day-to-day responsibilities and writing your book. And I hope that, in a few months from now, we will meet again to congratulate you on your published book.
Okay. It may
How
take a
about that?
little longer than that, but very close, very close.
No,
Thank you so much. You're very kind.
I can see it. I can see it happening.
Thank you. I can see it too, somewhere down the road. Thank you so much. You're
Thank
very
you.
kind.
Thank you.